Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bar Ships and Bullshit. I'm your host Jay Bird, and your other host Lily Lavender. And today's topic is going to be on handling high volume. This is going to touch base with a lot of people. Some people have their own tricks and different ways of doing it. We're going to show you some of ours. But before we do, I think you wanted to give a shout out.
Oh yes, to Indigenous Boutique and Spa. They are amazing. They take care of all types of needs. So I get my waxes done. I get my eyebrow tinting from them. They also do facials, massages, and everything. You got to go over there.
We do harp a lot on first impressions and how you present yourself. And this is just another way for other people to kind of do it. I obviously don't do waxes and all this other stuff, but Lily Lavender always looks great, and she does phenomenal work. So I would take her word on it. But today we're going to start talking about how to control high business volume. Everybody's, like I said, everybody's always got their own tricks and different ways of doing things. We're going to address a lot of them, and some things that that we'll harp on a lot. I know personally I have trouble with people that like to interact with guests. This is my biggest hurdle here lately, is I'll have partners or different bartenders that like to talk to guests and interact, which is great. That's part of the job.
Yes.
But if you got a whole lot of guests, you tend to spend way more time with one guest than the other. That can reflect on your tips and can put you in a bind. So we're going to address a few different things. If you want to, we have a couple different things that we wanted to address. One was the 2-step rule.
Oh God, yes. So you have to be able, so when you know that you're going into a high volume business day, you have to set up your bar accordingly. So make sure that you have all your necessities for a cocktail or whatever you're going to do for that high volume business day within 2 steps.
So make everything in arm's reach. No swaying back and forth, no going all the way across the bar to chase other ingredients and stuff. As busy as you look, it doesn't really help to have everything far away from you. So if you're having to travel across the planet to get what you need to make cocktails, it's definitely going to put you in a bind when you're chasing all this stuff. So the object of the game is don't chase, make everything come to you. So I get in a mindset, and it does bite me every so often.
You have a big bar too.
Yeah, we do have a big bar. What benefits me though is having somebody work where I'm kind of blessed where I'm working at right now. I have somebody that does server tickets, which means I don't have to really stay in one in particular well. I can either take care of just my bar top or just server tickets. Mm-hmm. And that's a huge perk on my side. So all I have to do is address my guests and not the servers, or vice versa.
On Saturday, how many bartenders did you guys have working that night?
We did. It was a slow Saturday, but we did do over 450 covers, and I had 4 bartenders. Yeah, which is a lot.
It is a lot, but it's also a big bar.
Yeah, it's a very big bar. It's a lot of turn and burn, especially we're also doing fine dining at the location I'm bartending at now. So offering a guest experience is something that is strived and is something that we're pushing for. So having more bartenders is kind of essential, but at the same time, I'm a very greedy bartender. So the less people that are there, the better for me. But if you're trying to fight for a bigger experience and offering something that nobody else can, you kind of have to have somebody that can give more time toward guests. But some things that's helped me with a high business volume is over prep, overstock, get everything ready. It's going to be a big shift. You're going to have a lot of people, big clientele. Overstock on your simple syrups, all your juices, anything that's fresh pressed. Mm-hmm. That way you don't have to squeeze or muddle or do anything extra if you don't have to. And another valid point that we were going to address is offering cocktails and addressing cocktails that are fast and easy and quick.
Easy. Yes. So if you keep like a list of easy to make cocktails in the back of your head, and you come across a customer that doesn't quite know what they want to drink, but you know that they like sweet drinks, just ask them, what do they normally drink? Maybe you can figure something out for them. So if you have already that list of cocktails that you know how to make that are really quick and easy, then this will make things go by faster.
Mm-hmm.
And then plus the visualization, as soon as you make it, other people are going to want it too. So it's
And then you've set yourself up for a success. If you've already got it in people's back in the people's, if you already got this in the back of people's mind that they already know what they want because you've already shown it to them, they're going to be excited about this cocktail. So for me, I feel like I can make Long Island's really fast, and it seems like a complicated cocktail. It's not a big deal. But also, if it's fruity, I'll always go to Sex on the Beach or liquid marijuana. Liquid marijuana has almost the same amount of ingredients as a Long Island iced tea, but for me, it's ingrained in my head.
Yeah.
Like it's my go-to. It's easy for me. It's easy to make because it's the same cocktails we use on a regular basis. So muscle memory saves my life. Sex on the Beach is only taking takes 4 ingredients, so it's quick. It's in the back of my mind. I can't forget it if I want to, you know. But on that note, if you have to, my famous line, my favorite thing to say to people when they don't know what they want to drink is like, I'll talk to them and be like, all right, what do you usually drink? Is it usually bourbon, or is it usually, cognac or different things? Because Hennessy is popular to no end right now.
It is extremely popular.
So they'll be like, this is what I usually drink, but I want something else, or whatever. I'll be like, all right, man, do you trust me? And like, 9 times out of 10, they'll start laughing. They'll be like, yeah, do what you gotta do. And like, do what you do, surprise me. And I've already when I offer that information, I'm like, all right, I got a cocktail in my mind. I can spit it out quick. I did that with a sidecar not too long ago.
Yes.
After I got you one, somebody about 20 or 30 minutes later, I had a last minute guess, and they were like, I love Hennessy VSOP. Love it. She's like, but I want a cocktail. I want something that tastes good. And I was like, yeah. I was like, I can do that. And they were like, I would love for strawberry flavoring. And she was very specific. She's never had any really good cocktails as when she was telling me about it. I was like, you know what? I can make this work. I was like, and I told her, I was like, you trust me? And she started laughing. She was like, yeah. I was like, I got you. I was like, if you don't like it, you can hate me forever. That's all right. And she started laughing. And she loved it. I made the cocktail. She said, that is on point. That's exactly what I want.
Yeah.
And I'm going to order it every time. I was like, good luck.
Not everybody can make it like that.
Not to be cocky, but like that was off the top of my head. And most people don't make sidecars. Fine dining locations, you'll be able to find them. It'll be popular. But they're expected. So like old fashioned Negronis and all that stuff, you're expected to make martinis at a fine dining restaurant.
Yeah.
So at dive bars or something a little bit speedier, it's usually going to be quick, sweet, and fast.
Yes.
That's kind of drinks that you want to stay to adhere to.
Yeah, you definitely have to keep the drinks interesting, but very simple.
Mm-hmm. So another topic that we were going to kind of address is interacting with guests. In what order would you go into? And we kind of touched base on this a couple of times. What are some orders, like how would you address a situation where your bar top gets full, like fresh out the gate?
So it happens all the time, especially on the weekends. It's even worse. But I'm backwards from yours. I go from right to left because my bar top is in order from bar 1, and then bar 12 is on the other side. So that's why I do right to left. It's easier. I have the open side over there, and I end at my well.
Okay.
So I will go and take care of as many of them as I can, but mine's all memory. I don't write anything down. So I memorize each and every one of their drinks, because I always start with drinks first. But at the same time, I'm getting tickets. I have to deal with the server's tickets too. So I count from the server's tickets. I count to see how many things of the same thing that I need on each of those tickets. And then I combine them with how many of the ones from my bar top. Okay. So I'll hit all of those. And I go from most difficult to easiest.
Right.
Because the most difficult for me is I can prepare them in like a minute time. And then the easiest being all the beer, I can pour those in like 30 seconds or less.
So we're completely opposite.
We are very opposite, yes.
So, and I'll tell you my system real quick. And this comes with experience, just like anything else. Find your rhythm and stick to it. But here's some things that might help. I read from left to right. I start from left to right, but I am kind of handicapped from left to right.
Yeah.
I'm deaf in my left ear. So, so what I have to do is if I start at the point of the left side, and give everybody my full attention, I can still hear people calling out things on the right side. Not, and here's another trick. You don't have to acknowledge what they're saying if people are talking over each other. Just acknowledge that they said something.
Yeah.
So if you have to spend a little bit extra time on your guest, the one you're already like initiated a conversation with, and you hear people talking over you or whatever, pay attention to the guest there. Don't be shitty. Like, you don't even have to acknowledge that somebody said anything behind you. Just make your way and keep it in the back of your head that somebody was talking to you. That's the biggest point. So what I do if I hear somebody out of my right side, because I'm deaf on the left, is I'll pay attention to the guest at hand. I'll take care of them. I'll get everything working accordingly, and then I'll make my way in the direction where I heard the noise. And then, like I said, I don't have to really know what they said.
Yeah.
I just have to know that they said something. So, and people respond well to the fact that they're getting attention. They want to know that they are a priority.
Yeah.
So, and treat them as such. I know people get flustered, people get irritated, and guests can read that. They know when you're struggling or whatever, but they will accuse you of being a shitty person if you come up with an attitude. So what I do in the back of my mind is I treat everybody the same way. It sounds awful, but it is rehearsed. Everybody I talk to, my first initial conversation, my pleasantries, and everything is all the same. I treat everybody the exact same way, so I don't have to think so much about what to say or how I said it. It doesn't come off shitty. I come off with the same, Southern drawl when I talk to people. Like, hey bud, how you doing? I can get you. What can I get for you?
Well, because the customers don't want to see that you're treating someone more special than you're treating them,
and they will acknowledge that.
They definitely will. Like, say you have locals that come in, you know that they're your regulars, and if you spend more time conversing with them than taking care of the other people that are there for the first time, then you're in a whole world of trouble.
So for me, treating everybody the same way, even under like high pressure or high business, if you stick to the same initial conversations, same pleasantries, that has always helped me.
Yeah, because your regulars are going to come back regardless.
Yeah.
They understand that you're busy, so treat them the same that you're going to treat the others.
And there's a reason they're coming back. They're coming back to see you specifically. So, I mean, if you give the same routine every single time, they are expected. Like, that is expected. So, even if you're having a bad day, most people can tell, like, if you're having a bad day, and they'll acknowledge it, but you still come off with the same pleasantry. But it works out every time.
So this goes with not testing a customer's patience. So you should never take more than 10 minutes to make these drinks.
Right.
If you do take more than 10 minutes, more than likely you're going to lose that customer.
Right.
They won't be repeated, especially if they know it's high volume.
Yeah, and they assume that you're just slow or that you're inexperienced. And we're kind of harsh when we judge people when we go bar hopping.
We are.
And it comes natural. It comes with the territory, and I'm sure we've been judged just as harshly in certain situations. But if you do take too long to get a drink, I'm going to assume that, like, okay, you just need more practice, or you get flustered easy. This is probably not meant for you. We do this all the time,
regularly.
So we really pick and choose about how you handle a guest. Now, I personally have a system on how I address a lot of different cocktails and a lot of different drinks at once. So anything that's got me running. So we have specific glasses meant for specific cocktails in different directions. So what I have to do, I start off by getting all the glasses that I need for the next set of cocktails. Martini glasses are in one direction, Pilsners are in the other, lowball glasses, they're all in different locations across my bar. And if I have a combination of all of these, it's easier for me to start off by getting all that stuff collected before I start making my cocktails.
Yes.
That way my finishing touch, my last pour is already set in front of me. And I don't have to chase all these things separately. It's all right in front of me. And it sounds like common sense. It really does. But people tend to forget because they get it's tunnel vision.
Yeah.
They see what's in front of them. So if you get everything together, you can still keep your tunnel vision, but you don't have to chase anything. And that's the name of the game, is already win the race before you start.
That's it. And I'm having to train these bartenders because they're not familiar with the glasses that are supposed to go with the liquor. And then they're not used to working on multiple cocktails at the same time. So they don't quite have that down. And I mean, we're fighting right now for the whole margarita issue. They don't want us to muddle anymore because it takes away from being able to serve high volume. And I get that. They want us to use the margarita mix because then all the drinks are consistent and it's fast and it comes out.
And we all know that obviously fresh product makes for a better cocktail. That just goes without saying.
Yes, it does.
And you and I are a stickler about using margarita mixes or any kind of mixes that come from the store.
Yeah, we don't like them. They just taste bad. It's not the same. You don't have the same quality in a cocktail by using them.
Well, and fun fact about margarita mixes is when they make those juices, they do it with the rind and everything.
Yeah.
So they don't peel it. Nothing comes out the way it is. It's all emulsified into a juice. So you're getting a lot more flavor than you're supposed to be getting with a sour mix, for instance. Rind, like a rind of a lime or orange peel or a lemon, that does change taste and texture.
It does.
I do use, so people make their old fashions completely different. Everybody has their own system. I have one as well. I don't use muddled fruit in my old fashions.
No, you're not supposed to.
I use peels.
Yeah.
That rind adds like a zest. It adds a flavor that not the inside of an orange does or the inside of a lemon does, but the peel itself adds a completely different texture and flavor.
It does.
So, and it's still and if you look really, really close, and it caught me off guard. Somebody asked me about that the other day. It's why does that make anything? Nothing ever happens. If you look at an orange peel really, really close and you twist the peel, you'll see a mist that actually comes off that peel.
Yes.
It's not orange juice. That's the zest from the
Yes.
rind, and that has its own flavor all to itself.
I mean, it's killing me with the margarita thing because my boss was mentioning how it's orange or whatever, and I was like, it's not supposed to be green, but the margarita mix is green because it contains the lime rind. And I'm not gonna sit there and argue with him over the fact that it's supposed to be yellow.
Right. It's supposed to have a dark yellow texture.
Yes.
Like it's supposed to be foggy, and if you get sour mix, and it's going to be lime green wherever you get it.
Exactly.
Because the lime green on rind overpowers everything.
Everything.
It's so sharp, and I totally get it. I totally support this. So what I recommend, instead of muddling, and we go back and forth all the time.
Yeah, because we were just talking about this too.
I know you're fast enough to muddle and do all this stuff just to make margarita mix.
But
that would drive me nuts. So I juice everything ahead of time.
Which is probably what I'm going to have to start doing for them, just so they get the same quality of margarita that I make without the time it takes them to muddle things.
And I still do it to this day. Your counts are still going to be the same if you do it right.
Yeah.
But I still, with my juices, I do 2 juices at a time. Like I'll grab both bottles with one hand, flip it, and it looks cool to other people at your bar if you're doing 2 bottles at once. A little bit of flair with your cocktails instead. But so you get it's a 2-way street. So if you're muddling all this fruit and stuff when you make your sour mix or you make your cocktails rather, they're seeing the work that goes into it. They're like, oh, that's a fresh product. It doesn't get fresher than that. But if you're making a sour mix with the juices that you had prepped earlier that day, it's fresh juices, and you do 1 or 2 bottles at the same time, they're still seeing something cool.
Yes.
Maybe not as fresh, but they still see something. They still see the crazy work that goes into it.
They do.
And if you're not comfortable with doing 2 bottles at once, make sure you just get your counts right and then make it synchronized.
Yeah.
Don't think about what you want to do next. It should be muscle memory at this point. You guys have been listening for a while, and if you've been practicing, then you should know what happens next. So get your counts right, grab the bottle, and make it synchronized. Get good flow.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, it's like Bruce Lee. Flow like water.
So now there's also a 50 rule in bartending.
A 50 rule.
A 50 rule. Once the glass is halfway empty, you can serve another one. So it's basically a 50% rule. So you see the glass is 50% drank. Mm-hmm. You can go ahead and prepare yourself to go ask them if they want another one. And this comes with taking care of your bar top in order when you're in high volume. So you go through everybody's order. You see that their glass is half empty. So ask them, would you like another one? Because by the time you come back around, their glass will be empty.
That's funny because I've always done that and I've never really acknowledged that it could be a rule.
It's a rule. It's called the 50 rule.
If I always see if I see a cocktail getting low, that's my first initial reaction. Be like, hey, bud, you gonna want one soon? Like, you gonna want one right after that? And they'll say, yeah. And I have made cocktails too fast. Like, I've seen it get halfway empty. I've made them their cocktail already, and I'll be reaching for it, and they'll be like, oh no, don't let it go to waste. I'll be like, oh, my bad, and then I'll keep their other cocktail off to the back, like just in front of them, but like off the bar to where they can't really reach it. And then they'll be like, all right, man, hold on 1 second. And they'll chug it. They'll chug their drink, and then I can serve them the next cocktail. For you guys that live in North Carolina, I understand that's almost a hairline illegal. Because you're not supposed to serve so many cocktails within a certain time period.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy that says that, like, I break this rule. But I break this rule. Like, if you got a good judge of how they're drinking their cocktails or if they're taking their time, I don't necessarily wait. I know you're supposed to, but they'll tell you at certain bars in North Carolina that they have to wait 20 minutes before they give you another cocktail.
Well, see, this is where you have to judge your clients. Judge them and figure out, like, how long are they going to be there for? Can you tell if they've drank before they got there? Mm-hmm. Do you already know who they are? Do you know what they can handle? Things like that, because my owner doesn't want us to serve more than 4 drinks to a person.
Yeah.
But that should be for, like, the tourists, the people who don't go there.
Yeah, somebody you can't monitor on a regular basis.
Yeah.
You don't know their reactions to it. Mm-hmm. That's why regulars get so much special treatment. We did harp earlier about showing everybody the same presentation.
Yeah.
But regulars do get special treatment. It comes naturally. That's just human nature. If I know that this guy can drink 8 cocktails and still walk a straight line,
yes,
I'll give him 8 cocktails because we have that rapport.
Yeah.
Like we have that relationship to where I am comfortable serving you this because you showed me nothing else to, like, say otherwise. That's where regulars get special attention because they know what they can get away with their usual bartenders.
Like last night, for instance, my regular that was waiting, he had 3 shots of tequila and he had 3 beers, but I knew he could handle it because, you know, he goes there often enough. On top of that, I knew he wasn't driving.
Right. And, yeah. I mean, and knowing all the extra rules, like if they're coming in with crowds and they have DDs and all this other stuff, and a lot of people that are DDs usually vouch for the people that they're driving for. So, and that's always a huge plus in your corner. At least you know that they're no longer your responsibility.
Oh, we get a lot of bikers too.
Bikers, and they have their own tolerance all to themselves.
They do, but you also don't want to be that one bartender that serves them and you know they're getting on a motorcycle to go on the Blue Ridge Parkway.
Absolutely.
And then you're screwed.
Or the tail of the dragon. Nobody can hold a lot of people can't hold those turns sober, so probably shouldn't spend alcohol on that as well. So just kind of keep those things in mind, guys.
And they're assholes.
Yeah. And keep in mind, in the state of North Carolina, if you overserve and something happens to them when they leave your location, that is on you. The state of North Carolina pins that on you. I know that's not fair, and we've addressed this on several occasions. And my mindset, me personally, I agree with you guys. You're grown as adult. Like, you should know what your limits are, not know what your limits are. And if you pass those limits, it should be your responsibility because you should have said no or should have said yes. Yeah. I know that's hard as an adult, but I don't think it's quite fair to pin that responsibility on somebody that doesn't really know you that well or know you. Yeah, or even if you do know them, like, you should have the ability to say no. No means no. Like, really that simple. I actually had a guess. It caught me off guard too because I was really pushing a cocktail. It was a group of 3 that came in. And I felt so bad. I felt horrible about it too. But the couple that was with them, they had a buddy, but it was they had wine together and they were drinking wine, and I was like, hey man, I was like, you want anything? And he was like, nah man, I'm good. And I was like, and I was really trying to sell. I was really just trying to sell something because I was bored. I was like, all right, bud. I was like, if you want, you can jump on the bandwagon. I ain't gonna stop you. I was like, you want another cocktail, man? I'm on it like a duck on a June bug. And he just started laughing. He's like, man. He's like, next week I'm a year sober. I was like, damn.
Oh my
and
God.
like, I let it slip. I was like, I'm so sorry. I was like, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I was like, if you want anything else, I was like, just give me a holler. I'm on it. I'll take care of it. But I ain't trying to be that guy.
No.
But that's the one time it bit me. And he was really, really cool about it, and the friends were too. Like they kind of like saw the situation.
Yeah.
But we are at a bar. People are going to drink. Like that's, if you don't have that mindset when you're walking in and you have that kind of situation. Like I said, you're an adult. You know what's coming to you. Mm-hmm. And he was really, really cool about it. Like he knew he was at a bar. He knew he was going to get asked those questions.
Of course.
And he didn't fault me for not knowing that. So that was a cool situation. But I was like, oh hell, like that really. I was like, nah. I felt really bad about it.
I mean, that actually brings us to our next point. The golden rule of bartending. Always practice cordiality, courtesy, damn, I can't talk now either. Courtesy, respect, and above all, make them feel special. Mm-hmm. And be as efficient as possible.
Yeah. So we discussed, we both have different ways of addressing certain situations like this.
Yes.
So if there comes a situation, you're waiting on guests to, come up with a cocktail, or like the object is not to push people into anything.
Uh-huh.
You can influence, that's one thing. You can advertise, that's another. But don't ever force your guests to order something. Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't ever come up to your guests and be like, listen, like I need you to order right now. Like, don't be pushy.
Have your things that you say to these people
in check.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what, and we discussed earlier in this episode, that I have a routine.
Yeah.
I address everybody the same exact way. I talk to them all the same way. Mm-hmm. And if it's going to take my guests a lot longer to make a decision, that's okay. I can address other guests as I'm coming around.
And just let them know.
And just let them know. Let them know that you haven't forgot about them, and I'll tell them. I'll be like, all right, guys, I'm going to give you a few minutes. Just give me a holler whenever you're ready. Mm-hmm. And if for some odd reason I just forget to go back to those guests, I'll circle back and I'll be like, all right, well, it's like, if you're ready, I'm ready. I was like, but, take all the time you need. And people feel, respected enough that you're taking the time to acknowledge them.
Yes.
And that's all guests really want to know, is that you're working to like make sure that they're taken care of.
That's right.
So don't push anybody into anything, even as busy as it gets. And I know it gets crazy out there. Just don't be a jerk. Don't be pushy about it. Just make your waves. If they're not ready, skip on to the next one. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now another thing that's helped me, because high volume is tough.
It's very tough.
That's why the extra work comes into it. This is where you make your real money, and you actually make even better money if you handle this the correct way.
Yeah.
But push yourselves. I love
push
memory.
Your limit.
Yeah, I love memory games.
Yeah.
Even though I have a book, and it's only because, like I said, I work in fine dining. People's details on a lot of different things really do play a factor. It's not like just ordering a burger with no tomatoes, no lettuce, or whatever. Mm-hmm. People want steaks. People want them a specific temp. People have their allergies or their critiques. Uh-huh. Nothing worse than a vegan. I'm not a vegan man. Sorry, I'm not that guy. Because there's nothing on my menu that's going to make you happy.
Unless you like asparagus and spinach. And
if you're vegan, I'm just going to push you to drink. That's usually my goal. But anyway, what I do in this what I do in this situation is I keep a book on me to record orders. Mm-hmm. Because things have to be so specific. Yeah. But I do push my boundaries on what I can remember. Especially, I worked in bars where it's just cocktails. And I ain't gonna lie, that's where I thrive. I do well. If people can holler their drinks at me as I'm circling around, I can remember 6 to 7 drinks. And I push myself. I started out with 2 or 3 people at a time. Yeah. I've got their cocktails in the back of my head. I made them, and then I can charge and do everything accordingly. So I've made it into a situation where I can remember so many cocktails at once. And you do the same thing. You do it with all things. Right? You do it with food and everything.
Yeah, I do.
So that just comes with practice and pushing your envelope. And every so often you will forget. And people are really, most of the time they're really
They're
cool.
forgiving.
Yeah, just go back up to them like, oh, I'm sorry, boss. Did you get that a certain way? Or like, what was that? Like, I missed that last part. Well,
Yes.
like, what was I supposed to grab for you? And then they'll be more than happy to know that you're not messing up. And that you got their order right. They're actually more, they're excited the fact that you're taking extra care of their order if you go back and ask them.
Oh, yes.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's not a failure on your part. That's you pushing your boundaries and remembering stuff. I don't know if you've seen Waiting.
Yeah.
You see that one guy that can just remember things, like remember a whole, like a 5. Not everybody can do that.
That's me.
That really is a special talent.
Yeah.
And it takes practice, but it's not something that everybody has to do. If you have to keep a book, that's awesome.
There's nothing wrong with it.
That just means that you're taking the initiative to do things right, and I think that's important. But memory games help.
They do.
My son and I have like memory games all the time.
Uh-huh.
My little nerd can remember things forever.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
So we like even on the car ride home, we'll if we take long trips, we'll play memory games and then see how far we can go and to remember certain things. And those things do help. Like brain's a muscle, just like everything else. The more you train it, the stronger it gets.
Well, I started remembering like the tickets, so the server tickets when they come out. I used to just not even look at the name; I just look at the table number, so I know which side of the bar to set their drinks on. Well, now I started looking at the name, the server name, to see who it's going to. This way, I know when I'm pouring something and I sat it there and I see the server walking up, I'm like, "That's yours."
Right. Right. So, guys, I think we've addressed enough about how we get judged at the bar. I think we should flip it and throw some stats at you. We talked about a stat earlier today about judging guests.
Yes, 80% of bartenders do judge the customers based off the drink they order.
I do. I totally do.
I am one of them too. Now, I try not to judge people. I try to make that a habit. But in this instance, it's a little difficult not to do it.
Yeah. I do it a lot. I had a guest one time come up to me, and she was a gorgeous redhead that come up to my bar one time, and she came up with another guy. And FYI, if you're a woman and you drink whiskey and you can hang with me, I'm attracted to you. If you're a woman and you drink whiskey and you dip, it's an automatic turn off. There is a line there. So if you dip skull and you drink whiskey, you're my fishing buddy. You're not my date. That's not how it's gonna work. But so she came up to me and she was like, "Can I get Jameson on the rocks?" I was like, love my life right here. She just started laughing. The dude that she was with came around. And he was like, "Can I get a Truly?"
Oh, hell no.
And I looked at her and I started smiling real big. And I was like, "He's fucking with me, right? Like, he's messing with me." And she just started shaking her head no. And I was like, "You want a Truly?" And he was like, "Yeah." He's like, "All right, man." I was like, "I'm going to get a shot of Jameson for her. And I'm going to get a Truly for my lady friend here." And my other bartender just had this look like, "Oh, snap." I am a hard judge on people on men that drink seltzers. I'm sorry. I'm not a fan. I automatically.
That's where we stereotype you.
Yes, I automatically think that you wear feminine products and you drink and you drive a Subaru. That's just the first thing that pops up in my head. I'm sorry.
Oh goodness, yeah, no, it's pretty funny.
Oh, yeah. Which at a bar, depending on your bar setting and read the room, most people can take a joke.
Yeah.
She thought it was hilarious. He. Not so much.
No, but she's the whiskey drinker and he is not.
I was all about it. I thought it was hilarious, but I do that all the time.
Oh God. And that's another one. I don't know how many times we can stress this enough, but you've got people watching you when you're making cocktails and you're just working in high volume. You have tables around you and other people that are just standing there waiting on a drink, just watching the bartender. Well, nothing gets on a customer's nerve more than seeing a bartender move slowly.
Oh, yeah. have some hustle behind the bar.
Yes, you have to. You gotta move fast. This is why people look at me and they're like, you are nonstop. Of course I'm nonstop. Do you see where I work?
Yeah, like the pace means everything. So,
It does.
So if you can speed through some cocktails, and this is, like I said, we've addressed it several times throughout the course of this episode,
yes.
and probably other ones too. Muscle memory is my best friend.
Yeah,
So
mine too.
if I can just reach for something, know what goes in, like margaritas, for instance, that's the easiest cocktail off the top of my head I can remember. I'm already reaching for the things to make my sour mix.
Yes.
And I don't have to think about it. I don't have to remember my next move. I literally just reach for it and go.
Yeah.
And we've discussed this early in our introduction, or in our first episode, is the Essential 8. Mm-hmm. The reason we have an Essential 8 is so we can reach for things blindly and know it's going to be there.
That's right.
So if you don't set up the bar the exact same way every single day, and if your Essential 8 is different than mine, that's cool. It's only there as a guideline. But if all your bartenders are on the same page and they know they can reach beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is going to be right where you put it, then they can do the same thing. They can reach for things blindly and make cocktails a whole lot quicker. That eighth of a second, tenth of a second really does make a difference.
So, I'm trying to teach them, my other bartenders, that there's a reason you set the well up that specific way. So when I come in the following morning and I know that y'all have closed at night, it's because my bottle of gin is sitting in the middle of the well. Yeah. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Yeah. It drives me nuts, but I'm a little OCD about things like that.
Oh, yeah. Well, it drives me nuts. Like, I've got bartenders I work with, and it drives them nuts, too. If they reach for something, and it's like, so we have orange juice, lime juice, simple syrup, and olive juice all in the same well. It's essential. You do need it for cocktails. But if you take the olive juice and put it 3 spaces down on the wrong section, people are going to grab it and put olive juice in there. You want to get cussed out, you'll put that in the wrong place.
So I was training one of our new incoming bartenders. She's our host at the moment. But I was training her one day, and she was supposed to make a sex on the beach. Well, our sex on the creek. And the Bloody Mary mix was sitting up top, but that and our cranberry juice both have red tops, but a different color and consistency when you see through the bottle.
Right.
Well, she just grabbed on accident the Bloody Mary mix for the sex on the creek, and the customer was complaining. She was like, "This is not right. This does not taste right." I was like, yep, I already know what's wrong, because I looked inside that sink well and I noticed the Bloody Mary mix right there, and I was like, crap, this is why I have it over on top of the cooler instead of next to my main juices.
And guys, don't be afraid to acknowledge your drinks as they come out. Sometimes you don't catch it, sometimes you do, but that's kind of one of those things like I would notice.
Yeah.
If you're putting Bloody Mary mix in a fruity drink, like Bloody Mary mix is thicker, like in consistency. It's not going to taste right.
But if you're a new bartender, you should be paying attention to what you're grabbing in the first place.
Yeah.
And I don't know, so my bar is not set up for speed. Yeah. I had to create that speed.
Right.
By setting things up the way I need them to be, so I have my speed. But hopefully when we redo this whole setup, it'll be a little better.
Well, this is the fun part about starting a bar or ending one.
Yeah.
Is you get new bartenders, you get into a new vibe, and you grow together. Yeah. Now, if it's an awesome bar and you have a great time, 9 times out of 10, you never want to leave. And then 9 times out of 10, you got a staff and you got partners that you work with on a regular basis that you would never want to see leave. It would ruin your life, because you get in sync with the people you work with. Mm-hmm. And I think that's awesome. I ain't gonna lie, I hate newbies. Not to be an asshole. And you won't be newbies forever, you just keep practicing. But if you're new and I'm training you, that's awesome. Yeah. What I want to see out of somebody that's new is to take initiative. Like, hey, ask me questions. I'd rather you ask me 1,012 questions than to fuck up. Yeah. Because people are picky about their cocktails. People really do put in the effort. They want to acknowledge that you're doing things right. So don't ask me questions, or ask the person ask your senior bartender what goes in what, or how would you do this. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I I'm not a fan of newbies that just kind of go with the flow and wait to be told stuff.
Yeah, I can't. I can't stand that.
Bartending is nothing but taking initiative.
Yeah.
This whole job is like, you want to get better at it. You find where your flaws are, and then push the envelope and to make those areas better for yourself. If you struggle with making cocktails and you struggle with remembering it, get you a cocktail list. Make you some flashcards. Do something that helps you remember cocktails.
And all of this is going to help you increase your speed
and your efficiency.
Yes.
I don't remember cocktails unless I make them.
Yeah, it has to be repetitive.
Yeah, I am a hands-on learner. If I haven't made it, I won't know. I can read a recipe and make it like that, but unless I make it for the first time, I'm gonna struggle with it.
Yeah.
And I've been doing this for a little bit now, so I still, I know it's a gut punch when you don't remember how to make something or you haven't made something in a while, but there's nothing wrong with asking questions, and I think that's important.
Yeah, definitely ask questions. So I have to try to teach them how to be a little faster. And I can't do that because they don't have the same experience I have. Mm-hmm. They haven't worked in high volume, or they are a new bartender, for instance. So that's why I had to agree with my boss when he said that it'd be better if we went to Margarita Mix.
Yeah.
Because I can't teach them what I already know when that's gained through experience.
Right. And I understand that. Well, and I started off with sour mix. Mm-hmm. Like, that was the easy thing. That was easy. It's quick. It's fast. I get the appeal. I understand the appeal. When I first started bartending, that's exactly what I used. Mm-hmm. But for me, we discussed how vain I am, and when people start bragging on my cocktails, I will make it that way.
Yes.
And then I never got a whole lot of compliments on my margaritas when I was using sour mix. Like, they're just like, oh, this is just a margarita.
Yeah.
When we started using fresh products, and I figured out how to do that, it was a huge game changer for me.
Oh, yes. So
I won't make, if I have a choice and I can fight against it all the way to the finish line, I will make margaritas with fresh product.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was, one of my bartenders was just texting me and asking, so are we going to Margarita Mix or can we still muddle? And I was like, so this is the key. We can use the Margarita Mix when we're busy, but you can still muddle when we're dead.
Yeah. But what we keep arguing over is if you just pre-juice and have everything ready, you make sour mix.
But it's still not the same.
To me, it is.
Which I'm still going to pre-juice it for them. I will do that. I've already got on board with that. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like, if we're slow, they can muddle. Because the more they muddle, the faster they're going to get with it anyways. It's experience. They need to do it over and over and over again until they get it down that they're fast enough they can do this.
I understand completely. But I am all about, like, having the juices pre-made, because any time that I can save not muddling is times that I can use somewhere in a different direction.
I know.
So this is where we'll butt heads on the reg, is because I like to pre-juice my stuff. To me, it's still the same product. As fresh as, like, it's still fresh. It's still freshly squeezed. It's all juice. It's just not off the rind. Mm-hmm. So you're kind of taking that rind out of it a little bit. Mm-hmm. But it's not supposed to have rind in it. So I don't muddle if I can avoid it. Anything, and the longer you do this, you'll figure out what shortcuts are important. Yeah. And what shortcuts mean something to you, and what is totally way off base. There are shortcuts that are absolutely unnecessary and you should never do it. Mm-hmm. I don't believe that. And we'll both agree that using sour mix is a shortcut that's unnecessary.
That's very unnecessary.
But guys, I think that's about all the time we have today. But please stay tuned for the next episode. Love you guys. Until next time.
We'll see you next time.